Paul Hamilton here for iPad Monthly. Super excited to show you the first look of playgrounds. So let's jump straight into it. When we're actually faced with this interface here, we've got the featured and the My Playgrounds. Think of My Playgrounds as a place where you're storing all your projects, and featured is going to be where all the resources come in. The fundamentals to Swift is what we're going to look at today. It's the main tutorial page. There's all sorts of challenges that will pop up. So let's jump straight into it. I've actually downloaded the Learn to Code 1 Fundamentals of Swift, and here it is here, the first one. So we're going to be introduced to a little character called BYTE, and basically we're just going to have a look through this today. Basically it's a case of putting in your code, so double tapping, you'll be faced with things like move forward, collect gem, run my code, and you'll actually see BYTE doing those commands. So that's the basis of these tutorials, is basically you can see here that I needed another move forward. So what we'll do is we'll return and put another move forward in and run my code again. Stop, run my code, and it should be successful. And you can see here that it's quite text-based. I don't see this as being a primary school resource. It's certainly something that is more directed at early secondary, maybe upper primary at a push if you've done a lot of coding before and some conceptual stuff. So that was pretty easy, but what you actually find if I click on the table of contents at the top, we've just been introduced to commands, and basically we've got functions and we've got loops, and we get into conditionals and parameters, operators, loops, algorithms, variables, and so on. So it's actually quite complex. And what I've actually found with a lot of adults that have been trying to learn to code for the first time with this is they get about halfway through and they really struggle and they say, hey, this is really, really hard. So I think from a teacher's perspective, what we need to do is have a look at a little bit more of a holistic approach to this, instead of just saying, here's the app, go and do it. And I want to quickly draw your attention to a fantastic resource that has just come out in the iBooks store, and that is called Swift Playgrounds, the Teacher Guide. This is a phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal resource that has so many examples and really will talk you through how to actually use this app in an educational way. So it really looks at building concepts, key concepts and understandings. It's got fantastic work samples and work examples, fantastic tips, and why we should be using this as a collaborative approach. Excuse me. Why we should be using this as a collaborative approach and get kids working together. And it's just so many fantastic ways of actually introducing this app. It also introduces things like Notability, Seesaw, all those our favorite apps, explain everything and how we can use them in conjunction with playgrounds. So as you can see there, we've got commands, we go all the way through. There are some really, really nice features. You can reset the page, you can record movies, so you might actually record the text that your students are actually coding, and actually use that as I guess a form of assessment, or a way of formative assessment. You can broadcast live, take pictures, and reset pages too, if you've got a shared device amongst them. So look, that's introducing BYTE and the world of BYTE, the world of coding. Fantastic resource, but if you think you're going to give your students this and just give it to them and say work through the tutorials without doing all of the other kind of key learning pedagogical practices with it, I think you're really going to, a lot of your students are going to really struggle. So I'd encourage you to really look at that iBook. Fantastic resource, really talking about thinking dispositions more than actually coding. And I think that's a fantastic way to approach this amazing resource. Paul Hamilton here for iPad Monthly, signing off.